Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, developed by BioWare and published under LucasArts in late 2003, took the market by storm on its release, amounting a massive 270,000 copies in its initial 2 weeks. The game received universal acclaim and won numerous awards, and would go on to hold a special place in many people's hearts and still receive a high regard to this very day. The story takes place 4,000 years before the prequels and Rise of the Galactic Empire, covering the early years of the Galactic Republic. The Republic verges on collapse as Darth Malak, the last surviving apprentice of the Dark Lord Revan, unleashes an invincible Sith armada upon the galaxy. The Jedi Order has been left scattered and vulnerable under the increasing power of the Sith, many turning over to the dark side. Amongst the stars above the outer rim world of Taris, a battle fleet engages the forces of Darth Malak in a desperate effort to halt the Sith's galactic domination. The player creates their character, and the game opens up on board the Ender Spire, which is under attack by Malak's forces above Taris. We are given a tutorial on the mechanics of the gameplay, and set forth into the ship with the objective of finding and protecting a personnel by the name of Bastila. We make our way forward, fending off the Sith soldiers we come across, eventually reaching the bridge. Bastila is nowhere to be seen, and assumed to have fled in one of the escape pods. With the Ender Spire taking heavy fire, we make our way there ourselves. We meet with Karth, a Republic soldier, and escape together, crash landing on Taris. We awaken in an abandoned apartment, being catered for by Karth after losing consciousness in the landing. He informs us that it's imperative to locate and recover Bastila, who is somewhere on the planet. We set out into the massive metropolis in search for any information on Bastila's whereabouts. Taris is a sprawling metropolis where skyscrapers and massive buildings cover its entire surface. The city is divided into 3 hierarchical levels. The upper city houses the most elite people of the planet, the rich and the famous. The lower city houses the average middle class, and the undercity houses the poor and destitute, and those who have been banished from above. Systematic oppression makes it near impossible to progress to the higher levels. Many of the people have been confined to the same level for countless generations. After exploring the top level, we descend into the lower city to find more information. We enter a cantina and make contact with a Hutt who sells us information about the escape pods. He suggests we look inside one of the gang bases inside the lower city, and we set out to do so. We meet with the leader of the rival gang, and he tells us that Bastila has been taken hostage by the other side and is being offered as a prize for the upcoming swoop race. Our best bet in saving her is winning the race ourselves, so we make a deal with the leader to gather some parts for him in exchange for entrance into the race. The parts he's looking for are within the enemy's base, and the only safe way of getting there is through the undercity sewers, for which we will need the help of a local Twi'lek by the name of Mission. We descend into the lower levels and locate Mission. The Wookiee companion, however, was captured, and she requests the player to help rescue him first. We enter and navigate our way through the damp sewers and free the Wookiee Zalbar. In thanks, he swears us a life debt, and we proceed on into the enemy base. We recover the requested parts, and in turn are granted access into the swoop races. Throughout the game, we will have the opportunity to enter in these races and win quite a bit of money. It's a nice little mini game within KOTOR, and serves as a welcomed reprieve from the story. We register ourselves for the races, and after beating all the times, are awarded with a championship title and the freedom of Bastila. Regardless of our efforts, Bastila, who turns out to be a powerful Jedi, uses the Force to escape and defeats all the guards in the area. After a short introduction, Bastila agrees to join the group, and together we begin planning an escape off Taris. We meet with a Mandalorian soldier in the upper city cantina who offers us safe passage off the planet. Meanwhile, Malak makes plans of his own.
You summoned me, Lord Malik.
The search for Bastila is taking too long. We cannot risk her escaping Taris. Destroy the entire planet.
The entire planet, Lord Malik? But there are billions of people on Taris. We'd be slaughtering countless innocent civilians, not to mention our own men still on the surface.
Your predecessor once made the mistake of questioning my orders, Admiral. Surely you are not so foolish as to make the same mistake.
Of course not, my Lord Malik. I will do as you command, but it will take several hours to position our fleet.
Then I suggest you begin immediately. You are dismissed, Admiral.
Yes, Lord Malik.
We infiltrate the base of a higher up by the name of Davik and break into his hangar bay in order to steal his ship. But before we do, we are confronted by him and a highly acclaimed bounty hunter. Before they can stop us, they are hindered by falling debris, and we make our escape with the Ebon Hawk. We fend off enemy fighters and plot coordinates to the planet of Dantooine. We land on the lush green planet, home of the Rebel Alliance. Bastila introduces us to the Jedi Council, and they inform us of a strong connection we have with Bastila, causing us to share visions about Revan and Malik. The Council feels that this connection is imperative to saving the galaxy and overcoming the Sith. They instruct us to navigate the strange visions alongside Bastila, but first we must undergo Jedi training. After weeks of training, we are finally given the task of creating our very own lightsaber, and provided with the choice to choose its color. The player is given the appropriate crystal and begins creating the saber. I just want to say that this is such an awesome moment of the story. We all know that lightsabers are awesome, and to finally be awarded with one after so long is such a unique and amazing feeling. Our first practical exercise is to clear an ancient grove of its darkness in the nearby area. We complete a series of side quests along the way and finally reach the grove. A Jedi who has fallen to the dark side resides herein, and after defeating her in combat, we spare her life and recruit her into the group. The Council now gives us access into the ancient ruins that we've been having visions about, and discover a strange artifact within, a map leading to the mysterious Star Forge, an unknown instrument of the Sith. The map is incomplete, however, and gives us information about the whereabouts of the missing pieces. This sets the stage for the arduous journey our hero must now undertake. We return to the Council, and they instruct us to venture across the galaxy in search for the missing star map pieces, and we soon after set out into the great unknown. Our first stop is on the sandscaped planet of Tatooine. We inquire about the whereabouts of the star map with the locals, do a little swoop racing, buy a translator droid, and set out into the desert to follow a given lead. We head towards the enclave of the Sand People, an indigenous tribe on Tatooine, and after earning their trust and gaining information about the star map, we kill them all in cold blood.
My gears are practically quivering with anticipation.
Thanks to the new information we've been given, we are led to a dragon's lair, and upon defeating the creature, uncover the first piece of the star map. Malik sends a bounty hunter after us, and after dying many times, we finally manage to defeat him. Totally legitimately, of course. Now that that's out of the way, we return to the ship and set our coordinates towards the next planet. We mingle a bit with our companions, learning more about them, and then set out into the forest planet of Kashyyyk. I think an incredibly noteworthy part of KOTOR is the relationship building you do with your companions. They are also masterfully written that it's hard not to build some sort of connection with them. The game allows the player a series of options to choose from when engaging in dialogue, letting you be nice and friendly, or downright evil. The latter of which are hilarious most of the time, and I appreciate being given the choice. The game works on a system whereby good actions lead you towards a light side playthrough, and negative actions lead you towards a dark side playthrough. Based on which side of the scale you lean on, you are given different outcomes within the story, and different character attributes. Light side are given light side powers, dark side are given dark powers. For all intents and purposes, I've gone completely light side in this playthrough, and the story will reflect that respectively. The game does a good job in tempting you with the dark side, and I respect that, as things aren't always so black and white, especially in the later parts of the game. Characters and situations will constantly try and persuade you to embrace the dark side, and it's not always so easy to resist. So just to finish my point, the characters in this game are great, and a strong reason why people love it so much. It took me roughly 30 hours to finish this game, and that's a lot of time to spend with these characters, so it's only natural to bond with them. They all have interesting and well-written backstories. You argue, you fight, you make up. The characters even build relationships with each other, and it's awesome to see their dynamics uniquely growing throughout the game. Now that we're off that little tangent, let's get back to the story. So we've landed on the forest planet, and soon learn that an evil corporation called Zerka has taken residence here. They are actively imprisoning Wookiees on the planet, and selling them off as slaves for high amounts of money. On Kashyyyk, habitats are built high within the giant trees, as the much unexplored depth below is home to many an evil critter and creature. We meet with the tribe leader of the Wookiees, and he grants us passage to the forest floor on condition that we save one of his members who were lost in the depths below. We climb onto the elevator and begin the long descent to the forest floor. Here we meet a reclusive Jedi who helps us locate the location of the star map. He opens up the gateway blocking our path, and we proceed onwards further into the forest. We locate and rescue the Wookiee we were tasked in recovering, and come across an ancient computer that guards the star map that we have been seeking. After completing its elaborate trials, it finally yields access to the map. On the way back towards the tribe enclave, we discover the old tribe leader, who many years prior took refuge in the lands below. He gives us insight into how the current leader has been allegedly working with the Zerka Corporation in the enslavement of his own people. He didn't believe it at the time, but now learns of its truth and vows to return to the tribe in order to stop this injustice. We return to the elevator and make our way back to the tribe. A mutiny is staged on the current leader, and the old is reinstated once again, vowing to put an end to the injustices of their people's slavery. We help fight off the remaining Zerka personnel and finally depart the forest planet. After setting course to the ocean planet of Manon, we experience more visions mutually with Bastila. We see visions of how Bastila defeated the Dark Lord Revan, leading his apprentice Malik to take rule over the Sith. These visions are constant and remain an enigma throughout the story. Why is the player seeing these things, and how are they connected to Bastila and the actions of Revan and Malik? A strong image of the Dark Lords is slowly built up, and the player grows familiar with them as their enemies, a fixed point of evil to eradicate. We land on the city within Manon, one of the few habitable destinations on the planet. Before we jump on the main quest, we do some swoop racing and help out some of the locals with their endeavors. After admiring the 2003 scenery, we meet with the man in charge inside the Republic Embassy, and after recovering a data module for him that was taken by the local Sith militia, we are given entryway into an underground facility below the city. Upon entering the moon pool, we soon learn about the unfortunate events that have transpired within the facility. The Salkath, the indigenous species of Manon, have been strangely manipulated into committing heinous acts upon the other researchers within the facility. We see firsthand how unusually aggressive they've become, and witness the trail of blood they've left behind. We fight them off and meet a surviving researcher who directs us further into the facility. We further meet another 2 survivors who gives us information about the events that have occurred. A giant shark-like creature appeared after construction efforts reached its habitat, and in response entered a frenzy of rage, calling upon many other creatures in its defense. Somehow, the Salkath were affected as well, and became hostile in defense of this area. So in an attempt to solve our little problem, the player destroys the massive harvesting machine and relinquishes the rage of the ocean creatures. The player can now access the ruins that the creature was protecting, and here we locate the third piece of the star map. We return to the surface and set forth to the final planet on our list. Before we can reach our final planet, we are captured by a massive Sith ship and taken as prisoners. The admiral of the ship interrogates and tortures the crew for information about their mission and informs Malik of their capture. Luckily, the crew planned ahead for another member to break out and rescue them. Upon doing so, the crew begins their escape plan before Malik arrives. They reobtain their equipment and make their way towards the bridge. They confront the Admiral and defeat him. The Admiral and Karth have personal history, and he uses his last words telling Karth something unheard by the player. The information greatly troubles him, but with more pressing matters at hand, they decide to get off the ship before discussing it further. Before reaching the hangar, we are brought face to face with our biggest fear.
Darth Malik.
Down you go! I hope you weren't thinking of leaving so soon, Bastila. I've spent far too much energy hunting down you and your companions to let you get away from me now. Besides, I had to see for myself if it was true. Even now, I can hardly believe my eyes. Tell me, why did the Jedi spare you? Is it vengeance you seek at this reunion? What? You mean you don't know? All this time and you still haven't figured it out. I wonder how long you would have stayed blind to the truth. Surely some of what you once were must have surfaced by now. Even the combined power of the Jedi Council couldn't keep your true identity buried forever, could it?
One of the most iconic plot twists in gaming history plays out before us. The player, after all this time, finally learns the truth behind their origin. You are one half of the evil you've been chasing all this time. This massive veil is lifted, and you learn that you've been lied to by Bastila and the Council all along. They brainwashed you, manipulated you, used you. The player can't help but feel unfairly treated, and the path to the dark side presents itself once again. But we've committed to the light side, and that's where we'll remain. An epic battle commences with Malik, but Bastila ends up sacrificing herself so we can escape and complete the star map, and focus on locating and destroying the Star Forge. As we escape, a heartwarming moment occurs with your crew. Upon learning your true identity as the Dark Lord Revan, they still show you compassion and stand by your side. They understand that you are no longer who you once were, and cast judgment aside for the sake of the person you have since become. They unite with you, and together focus their efforts on completing the mission and saving Bastila. We land on the rocky deserts of the planet Korriban, originally homeworld to the ancient Sith. We enter into the landing facility and immediately learn of the stronghold the Sith have here. An academy resides nearby where aspiring students can train to be proper Siths, and we are told to go there and search for answers to the whereabouts of the star map. We reluctantly have to impersonate ourselves as one of the students to gain entry. We meet with the presiding master of the academy, and he does a great job in tempting you with the ways of the dark side. He explains their point of view skillfully, and the player can't help consider his proposals. The line between the light and the dark side doesn't seem so clear anymore, and I believe the second game in the series explores this in much more extensive detail. In order to learn more about the star map, we have to take part in the Sith training. We are told to venture into the Badlands and bring back a series of items from nearby ruins. We enter the ruins one by one and complete their trials, recovering the ancient relics. We return to the Sith Master and present our findings to him. He expresses his approval and deems us worthy of becoming a Sith. In order to make it official, we must accompany him into the final tomb and complete his trial. We do so and locate the final piece of the star map within. Now that we've got what we came for, we murder every Sith in sight and make our way back to the ship. The light side can be pretty brutal, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't feel very much on the good side after murdering dozens of misled students in cold blood. I suppose I could have avoided it somehow, but I kind of feel like they deserved it, and it was pretty satisfying in the end. Perhaps the dark side was getting to me after all.
Be what you were meant to be.
We enter our ship, and with our now completed star map, we set course for the Starforge. Before we get there, we are given a glimpse into Bastila's circumstances. Malik is torturing her relentlessly, trying to transition her to the dark side. We locate the Starforge, but before we can get to it, some sort of disruptor field forces us to crash land on the closest possible planet. Lucky for us, the source of the disruptor field is also located on this planet. We explore the Mediterranean surface and locate a strange alien race that provides us entrance into the ancient temple. They complete a strange ritual, removing the force field that blocks the entranceway, and the player can now enter with his companions. We make our way to the roof, and we are brought face to face with our long-lost companion. Bastila has fallen to the dark side, having been under Malik's constant torture for so long finally broke her resolve. The player attempts to remind her of her true identity, but she is unaffected by your words and attacks you nonetheless. Upon defeating her, she proposes that you join her on the dark side and overthrow Malik together. The game once again tempts you, and the player is given the choice to join Bastila on the dark side. The player is fully aware of the truth in her words. Together you really could overthrow the galaxy. But our player must resist these temptations and stay true to the light side for the sake of this playthrough. Bastila escapes, and we disable the disruptor field from the nearby terminal. We return to the ship and inform the Republic of the location of the Starforge and request their help in destroying it. In order to do so, we first have to apprehend Bastila and confront Malik. We are tasked in entering the forge to complete this objective, and that's exactly what we do. We land in the hangar and make our way through the ship, battling countless droids and Sith. We learn about the Starforge and how it has the ability to create battleships extremely quickly and efficiently, and it is made clear to us that this is how Malik has taken control of the galaxy. We battle onward until we once again come face to face with Bastila. She draws power from the Starforge and attempts to strike you down. You make several attempts to talk to her, but she continues to resist. After an epic duel, the player defeats her and is now provided with the choice of forgiving her or killing her. Forgiveness is a vital principle of the light side, and that's what we'll be going with. Bastila, in face of such compassion, realizes her mistakes and dissolves her connection with the dark side. She uses her battle meditation to aid the Republic feat, while the player makes his way to confront Malik. We come face to face with Malik at last, and begin a long and epic battle against him. He drains the power of captured Jedi to rejuvenate his life points, and the player must continue fighting until there are none left. At last, Malik is defeated. He reflects on his actions and ponders on what could have been, before finally meeting his demise. The player returns to the hangar bay and makes their escape alongside their crew. The Starforge is destroyed, and order is once again restored throughout the galaxy. A ceremony takes place, rewarding the player and crew's efforts, and they will forever be remembered as heroes. And such is the tale of Dark Revan, the Prodigal Knight. Now, before we wrap this up, I would like to mention that so much of the story didn't make it into this video. I barely included any dialogue between the crew, any of the side quests, and so much of the lore and backstories of the characters. The game took me roughly 30 hours to complete. Yeah, seriously, and that's only the light side playthrough. I didn't include anything about the dark side, so there's a whole other playthrough to be had here. If any of you would like to give this game a shot, it's incredibly cheap and well worth it. The visuals and gameplay are pretty dated, as this game did come out in 2003, but I became comfortable with it pretty quickly, so don't let that scare you off. It's a great experience to be had here. If you do decide on playing it, I have to recommend that you install the widescreen fix, as the game doesn't natively support higher resolutions. I'll leave a video in the description for anyone interested. It's super easy and it only takes a few minutes. So thank you all so much for watching. Check out my other videos if you have nothing better to do, and if you would so kindly consider signing up to my Patreon to help support me and the channel. I'll be uploading my personal piano covers of the soundtracks on there, as well as anything I do in the future. Thank you for watching.